Hello.
Hello you.
So we thought we'd do a quickish video about our travel plans for the next 12 months, because obviously everyone at the moment has their travel plans up in the air if you had anything booked for 2020. If you watch our channel, you know we try and get away a couple of times a year at least, often Disney, and we have been obviously affected by what's been happening with COVID-19, the lockdown, possible quarantines, flights being cancelled. So we wanted to update you what decisions we've made this year and for the next 12 months, and plans we've started to put in place for the future. Now, the most important thing above all is,
well, staying home, staying safe. I mean, at the time of recording, we've not been out of the house apart from to take rubbish for 7 weeks.
Yeah, so going from that and then thinking about getting on a plane or even thinking about going away at the moment is such not even...
Just getting to an airport.
Yeah, that's not something we're going to even consider at the moment. So everything's subject to change. Everyone's plans are up in the air, and we totally get that. It is sad when you get holidays cancelled, but being healthy and safe and keeping your family safe is you can't buy that. You have to have that. Let's talk about what trips we had.
So we had a trip at the end of May, which is kind of now.
It's a week today.
As of filming. Yeah. And that got cancelled in April, which we kind of expected. Yeah. It's disappointing because we were going with friends who'd never been before. That's the Walt Disney World. And we kind of knew when the whole COVID thing started to escalate that May was looking very unlikely. So yeah, we you know, it's fine. It's not the end of the world.
We were in Florida in February, which is the series which is going out at the moment. And at that time, the virus was in China, and I think it has spread to some other Asian countries, but it hadn't come over to Europe or hadn't started hitting the UK, I don't think, at that point.
Can't remember.
So
we were talking about it though. I mean, there's references in our blogs which we didn't leave in because they just seem a little bit trite now. That, you know, anytime someone coughed or there was an issue, we were like, ooh. Yeah.
But I think, and we went on that trip expecting to go in May, and you'll hear references in that trip in episodes where we talk about, oh, we won't do this. Rise of Resistance was a really good example, actually. We didn't do Rise of Resistance. It was so busy when we were there. It was President's Day week. So we didn't do Rise of Resistance, and you'll hear us say, oh, we'll do that in May, and we didn't do something else.
Well, Spaceship Earth was supposed to close the week we were supposed to be back in May. Yeah. And we thought, oh, great, we can go on it one more time. Yeah. No.
Didn't happen. So that holiday, which was supposed to happen a week today, next Saturday when this was being filmed, is we were flying premium to Orlando with British Airways. We were staying at the Ramada Gateway, and we'd actually booked that before our issues previously we've had with Ramada, and we'll put a link to that video if you want to see what issues we did have. It was 6 nights, I think.
Yeah, it was Saturday to Friday.
Yeah. And we were flying, that was direct to Orlando that time.
So that's not happening?
That's not happening. We ended up cancelling that. They gave us a voucher.
We'd paid, because we can't afford to finance trips just like that.
Yeah, no.
So the way we get around it is you book your flight and your hotel with British Airways, and then it becomes a package deal, and then you've only got to pay deposit, and then you pay the rest nearer the time. So that's what we were getting close to the time we had to pay the rest of the deposit, and we thought, well, there's no point, we're not going. So we just took a voucher for the deposit back.
Yeah,
so that's what we got.
And it was really easy to do. I think we did that one online. We didn't have to speak to anyone. Really straightforward. We use British Airways all the time, so it's one of our main airlines, more than Virgin probably in the last year. So that trip's cancelled. So then we had a second trip, which was 2 weeks in August. It was a week in Animal Kingdom Lodge, which was like our dream resort to stay at. And we were flying upper class with Virgin and Delta. So it was Delta One and Virgin.
This was a faff.
So this flight, anyone who was trying to book, I think, for this summer was struggling with direct flights. We saw loads of things online about people talking about the prices. The prices were insane. They were so high.
I think it was because when Thomas Cook sadly went under last year, the only way you can really get to Florida was British Airways, Virgin Atlantic or Norwegian. And the prices were absolutely ridiculous. And if you saw our previous trips, we try and use air miles as much as possible because we can't afford to fly otherwise. And the year before, 11 months out, we booked an amazing upper class return trip. And we thought, yeah, we can do that again for this summer.
It was £900 that flight, actually, the year before.
But for booking for this summer, there were no air miles flights when we wanted to book. So we
booked a crazy flight.
So the only way we could do it was flying from London Heathrow to Boston, changing at Boston, going down to Tampa.
Yeah.
On the way back, we're going from Tampa to Atlanta, and then Atlanta back to London. So that's the flights we had booked for August in the middle of all this craziness. And we don't want to go on one plane at the moment, let alone having to do 2 planes there and 2 planes back.
Yeah, it was pretty mental. They weren't cheapish flights. They were a huge amount of air miles. So they were 120,000 air miles each, plus
400 and something quid.
Yeah, close to £500 each. We had to do them as separate bookings. So there was lots and lots of things.
There were a lot of moving parts that could have gone wrong if we waited till August and then actually went on those flights. We were going to wait a bit longer, and then we had a conversation this week and thought, well, if we get in early, they might be able to swap it to next year. So we thought, the world's crazy enough as it is and out of control, so the one thing you can take control of is actually what are we going to do in August.
Yeah.
So we phoned them.
And you were on hold so this was with Virgin. So you phoned them, and we probably phoned them at the wrong time.
Yeah, we phoned them in the evening. we rang them in the evening, and they're only up for 2 more hours.
So we were on hold for about 70 minutes, 70, and we listened to the same 4 songs over and over again. But when we got through to Virgin, I have to say, the guy was just incredible. He was so good.
Yeah, we had the option of keeping the ticket open with them, and they would have rebooked it at any point.
Yeah.
But we realised that actually what we want to do next year, we don't want to go around the houses, we want to go direct.
Yeah.
So our scenario was, we want to push it back a year, we want to change it to a direct flight, and we still want to use miles.
And fly upper.
And fly upper, because we wanted to use those miles. I feel like it was quite a big ask.
Yeah. Like, if I was there, I'd be like, jog on.
But, I mean, he wasn't... he
was so lovely.
He was happy to oblige,
so nice.
But the biggest issue is that Virgin only do their seat allocation 11 months in advance.
Yeah.
So we couldn't have done any of that until September. By which point we thought, well, I don't really want that hanging over us for 4 or 5 more months.
The biggest personal change for us is we can now travel whenever we want, with the exception of 1 week in the year. And that's because my job changed and my holidays changed, so we can now travel whenever we want. So
whereas before we were restricted to
school holidays. So we decided to take the money and the miles. While we were still on the phone, the miles came through on the app. Literally within like 2-3 seconds, the miles were back on the phone. And our refund's been referred to their refund department, and he said 14 days. So we'll see if that money hasn't obviously come through yet, because we only did that in the last couple of days. But we did get the air miles back. So
what do you do when you got a bucket load of air miles in lockdown when you're not going out?
So
what have we done?
We booked something.
Yeah.
Obviously, because you've got to have plans, whether they're confirmed plans and you book something, or you're just dreaming and thinking you need to do that, particularly at times like this. So I love LA. I really want to go back to LA. I absolutely loved Christmas. We've got friends there. They've got the Disney parks. They've got all the studios. So we've booked a trip to California.
Yeah, we're going back to LA next February. Well, we booked it for next February.
Yeah.
We completely accept the fact that the world may be no different and we can't fly, in which case we'll just kick that trip further into the future.
Yeah.
And Virgin have now got a booking policy that they'll make any changes, you just pay the difference in price.
Yeah.
Or you can, I mean, if they cancel it, we'll get a refund. But we fully hope to be going back to California in February 2021.
So our plan is to spend 8 days in Hollywood, look at trying to get a studio in the Hollywood Hills, which has always been our dream, to get a nice property up there for a week. And then the second week we'll be down in Anaheim doing Disney parks. So it's a little bit longer than our Christmas trip.
Thank God.
Our Christmas
I'm so tired.
Our Christmas trip was so... Because we had Christmas Day in there as well, we tried to fit everything in, and we didn't do half the things we wanted to do. So I'm really looking forward to that trip. It's going to be really, really good. And you know what? If COVID is still around and it's not safe to travel, or we're worried about anything, we just won't do the trip, and we'll postpone it and amend it.
That's one of the things I've been thinking about over the last few weeks, is that, I mean, nothing's changed. I mean, it still is contagious. We are fortunate in so much that until October we have travel insurance from last year, pre-COVID, so that would have covered us. But just because you've got medical insurance that covers you doesn't mean to say that you actually want to risk going away and getting it.
Yeah.
Our next trip, we won't be covered. And my worry is that even if you have medical insurance, you go to America, if you pick something up whilst you're there and you go back to get on your flight for the way home,
I'm not going to let you on,
and they've got those scanners to take your temperature. If you've got a dodgy temperature and they think you can't fly, you're stuck in America. You've got them to pay for accommodation, and if it turns out that you are ill, you're going to be sick thousands of miles from home.
It's also not ethical to fly if you're poorly, and I don't think even all the things I'd want to get on that flight and get home if I was poorly, I wouldn't, because it's not the right thing to do.
We were watching the trackers the other day, and they were talking about the opening of the park, and they would have these thermometer scanners, and Jen made a good point that actually you could just take a Tylenol or paracetamol to reduce your temperature, and then you could go in and be really, you know,
okay. You could present as okay,
but you could be really sick and contaminating other people.
Yeah.
So if you're faced with that issue at the airport, that you take a Tylenol, you get on your plane and go home, but you're then potentially risking the lives of everyone on that plane. I think that's a lot to consider and to think you have to live with. But if the alternative is you're staying in America, paying for accommodation and living there for a bit longer, or potentially getting sick, what would you do? And I don't think I ever want to be in that position. So I fully accept that trip in February may not happen, and that's absolutely fine.
We can't. We're two people who can't complain about holidays being cancelled. Obviously, you get disappointed with May and August, but we can't. We've just been on such fantastic holidays for the last year, which hopefully you've seen and watched. We can't moan that our holidays are cancelled. We've been so lucky to go on the ones we've been on, and we know we will go back at some point.
It's also a bit weird thinking, I am planning to go on a holiday thousands of miles away, yet I can't go and see my parents.
Yeah.
And if I go on a trip to America or Disney, anywhere, whether it be Paris, LA or Florida, and I have not seen my parents, I feel that's just a really wrong decision to make.
Yeah.
If there's a chance I can use some of that time to spend time with our parents,
yeah, we should be.
I think that's a better decision for us, considering how, isolating and restrictive this lockdown's been. It does make you think, when can I see someone else and give them a hug? So I'd rather go and see my parents, I think, rather than don't touch me, you're contaminated.
I'm not.
I think I'd rather go and see my parents first before going on any massive trip, because I just think, what message would that send to my mum and dad?
Yeah.
See you later, I'm off to go see Mickey Mouse. It's just not right.
What we wanted to do was just come and do a video and just update you with what our plans are for the next 12 months. And they're basically up in the air. We have something booked. It might happen, it might not.
I'm also hoping that the world will be a different place in maybe a week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months.
Well, everything moves so quickly, doesn't it?
The ideal is that there's an opportunity to possibly go to Disneyland Paris before the end of the year. I think that may be a pipe dream, but I'm still holding out for it. So I'd like to do Disneyland Paris, renew the annual pass. We got California in February.
Yeah.
We're thinking about a plan to Disneyland Paris around April, and we'll go back to Disney World as soon as we can. And if that's sooner or later, we've also in the position that we've got the American Express Avios companion flight 2-for-1 deal that
so we
qualified for. So we've got way more options than many other people. So we're incredibly fortunate.
Yeah.
And we're itching to get back to a park, but we'll do it when there's better news. I don't think at the moment it's worth planning anything for this year.
Definitely not. Channel wise, we're going to have Florida vlogs going for the next few months. We've got plenty of content from all of our days we
can stretch out a day like Elastigirl.
So we have plenty of Disney World vlogs coming. We have loads of footage we've never used before, which we'd love to share with you.
We've got footage we didn't use because we thought Well, you know, I'm a bit gobby. David was a bit reluctant to put it in the first time round.
Well, we also film like 4 to 5 hours a day when we're in Florida, and you see 20 minutes of that. So there's obviously loads and loads of footage of Ian facing the camera at the ground, leaving it switched on.
Swearing at people, swearing at children, swearing at cast members, swearing at David.
But there's also lots of footage which we think you might want to see as well. So the vlogs and content will still keep coming every single week. We're still here. And
David's still got an account with Shop Disney.
Yeah, so there's plenty of content coming. But we just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's been watching. If you stayed all the way through this video, well done. It's just us sitting chatting.
And if you've got plans that you're making or thinking about for next year, please comment below and let us know, because it's really nice, genuinely lovely to hear your comments. And it's also nice to hear that other people would be making plans for once this craziness has ended.
Yeah.
Whenever that may be, whatever those plans might be.
And if you've got questions or you want some advice,
don't come to us.
We know what we know. We're not experts at all, and by any means. But if you do have questions, just leave them in the comments, and we can always try and answer them on social media. You know where to find us now. If you've sat through this video, you obviously have watched us before, hopefully. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and remember to
subscribe. And
we'll see you next time. But make sure you stay safe and healthy, and look after your friends and family.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
No one's talking about washing their hands anymore. Anyway, wash your hands.
See you next time. Bye.